Hey everybody, Marcus C. Williams here. And I want to take a little while and talk to you guys about something that I think is very important and isn't being focused enough on in our country right now. That's personal responsibility and accountability, and familial accountability and responsibility. So, I'm from Rochester, New York. Unfortunately, over the past year, we've been in the news nationally far too much for absolutely nothing. At least nothing positive, that's for damn sure. Oh yeah, we're the third worst place for black people to live in the nation. That's a thing. But anyway, so we've been in the news for far too many terrible things, okay, for no real reason, and issues that are not the way that they try to make them out to be. So let's recap some of the things. We had an issue about a year or so ago now with this gentleman. His name was, well, I don't know, I'm good enough to call him a gentleman. With this dude, his name was Daniel Prude. Hey, that rhymes, okay? But anyway, unfortunately, he died. He died after an encounter with the police, which was a shame, because the whole situation was a really bad look for the police. Whether or not you believe that they are solely responsible, irregardless. And yes, I know irregardless isn't a word. Irregardless. I know I just said it again on purpose. I'm using it. Irregardless. There is way too much that transpired during that situation. We also have recently been in the news. They pepper sprayed a 9-year-old girl. Okay. We'll get there. And they pepper sprayed a mother in front of her 3-year-old, I believe the child was 3 or whatever the case is. That happened. And then like the night or 2 nights ago, maybe it was 3, I think 2 nights ago, they shot a man that ran at him with a knife. Okay. So those are some issues that have happened, and we need to talk about this. What the hell is going on in our society when people are not responsible for their own actions? Yes, I know some people are puppets on strings like Joe Biden is for Nancy Pelosi. He said as much himself. He said, whatever you want, Nance, it's you're what did he say? He said, whatever you want, Nance, it's up to you. Or no, that wasn't what he said. It was even worse than that. It is so bad I can't even remember it. I dispelled it from my brain. Whatever you want, Nance, you're in power or you're in control. Whatever it was just so bad, terrible. Anyway, puppet. But that's besides the point. Back to what I'm talking about. People are in control of their own actions in general and on the larger period of a whole. Okay? So, if you go outside and act a rabid fool in public, that's you. You did that. You acted that rabid fool. Okay? If you run at somebody with a knife with the intention of killing them, you did that. You chose to do that. Okay? If you steal, you chose to do that. Okay? So, people go around, and this is something that I think is extremely disrespectful, distasteful, disheartening, and not advantageous for black people at all, but they say, oh, well, they're poor, so they steal because they're poor. It's okay to steal because they're poor. What? The what? The what to the what, where, when, how now? Are you serious in life? First of all, I don't even know where to get started on any of that. But let me say, when I was real little, okay? When you talk about poor, we were poor, okay? Real poor, okay? Like, this video is not about me. Anyway, okay? But we never did any of that, stealing or anything like that. It's ridiculous to try to say that because black people are poor, or poor people, or black people that are poor, or people who are poor still, and it's okay because they do it because they're poor. None of that's okay. And you try to make it like it's okay, and it ain't. Okay, but back to accountability. Okay? Somebody needs to be held accountable for those words, because those words are ridiculous, demeaning, and condescending just to... Getting a little bit of emotional there. Let me step back. Okay? Anyway. So boom. People in responsibility for their actions, especially in public, is what I want to talk about. So if you go out your house and you just go down the street busting people's windows out, you did that. You should be responsible for that. If you walk across the street and you kick your neighbor in their knee, you did that. You should be responsible for that. Okay? Now, you would have done these things knowing full and well that you intended to do them before you did them. So, of course, you should be responsible. Okay? It's like, did you fold your bed at home? Did you make your bed? No, you did not make your bed. Well, you are responsible for making or not making your bed. That's you. You chose that. So when you are outside in public, you are a representation of you, because you are controlled by you, but of course you're also a representation of your family, and we'll get to that. Being a representation of yourself, being cognitive, being a human being, you know what your actions are that you're doing and what you're taking, okay? And you know if they're socially acceptable or not. And I think a large part of what's going on is right now, culturally in America, a lot of socially unacceptable behaviors that have been traditionally socially unacceptable are now being popularized and being rationalized away as if they're okay. Like poor people still because they're poor. Urgh. Duh. Anyway, stop rationalizing and making things okay that are not okay. They're not okay. So, let's talk about the 9-year-old girl. I don't know if you saw the video, but you got to watch the whole video. So, the mother called the police on her. The mother called the police on the girl. Let me stop and go back so you can hear me. The mother called the police on the girl because the girl was going to kill her mother or threaten her mother because the mother and the father had been fighting, a whole bunch of blah, 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 family, familial drama, blah. Anyway, so the mother called the police on the daughter because she couldn't control her own daughter. So the police come. They ask the girl, they say, hey, they said, can you go sit in the back of the car, okay? They called us. We need to sort things out, see what's going on. So she proceeds to act a rabid-ass fool in the middle of public, completely disregarding the commands from the police. And at this point, they're not commands, they're requests in a humble manner, okay? They're requests for her to sit in the car. No handcuffs at this time. They're not trying to put any handcuffs on her or anything. But they want her to sit in the car because they got called out to see to it. She didn't want to do that. She wanted to act a fool. She wanted to curse and call everybody's name. She wanted to say all types of dirty stuff that you think would come out of a sailor's mouth or somebody who's been in prison for 17 years. Okay? Then, she's as big as a president of a biker gang, okay? So you're like, she's 9. She looks like she's about 18. Okay, I'm over-exaggerating. She didn't look like she was 18. But she looked like she was big. Like she was at least about 15, 16, talking about she's 9. Maybe what you're feeding the kids, all these hormones. That's another thing that we need to talk about. What are they feeding the kids? What is going on with our food supply Is it healthy? Should our children be eating it? Who is controlling what's going in our foods? But we're not talking about that today. So boom. Anyway, she's acting a rabid fool. Clearly behavior that nobody would tolerate from their child in public. Now let's talk about that. She's displaying behavior that nobody would take from their child in public. She was displaying the behavior in public that you would say that you should whoop someone's behind for. Okay? Now, I don't believe in whooping your kids. I believe in different types of discipline. However, at some point, under some circumstances, you need a behind whooping. She needed her behind whooped. Okay? Blah, everybody says spirit ride spoiled a child. Oh, that's an old adage. That's not true. Okay. Because the parent could not deal with this child, so other people are supposed to deal with this child? I don't understand how that works. If the mother wasn't able to control the daughter whom she raised, what makes you think that the police are going to be able to control her? Hello? Hello? Asking for anybody that has a rational mind of thought. If the mother of the child who raised the child could not control the child, what makes you think that the police will be able to control the child? What makes you think that anybody will be able to control the child? Okay? The child doesn't want to control the child. Okay? If the individual does not want to control themselves, what makes you think that somebody else is going to be able to control them? Are they a lion tamer? Is this the dog whisperer? Caesar, where you at? Okay? But this is a problem. This is a serious issue. So what ended up happening, if you're not familiar with the story, is the girl failed to comply with their directions. They ended up having to handcuff her. She's flipping, flopping all over the place. They end up having to tussle with her. They finally try to get her into the car. She's still trying to push her way out. And then because it's freezing freaking cold outside, I don't know if you guys know this, but in Rochester around that time, it was like literally 10 degrees. Not a joke. Snow on the ground, everything, freezing cold. They had been out there for like 15 minutes already. Freezing cold. Apparently there's some backstory where the police had got called to the house earlier for some other stuff, or somebody, it's just, we're not going to talk about the other stuff. It's some crazy extra nonsense. But this is what happened and what was addressed. So they had to pepper spray her to get her into the car. And everybody got up in arms because, well, not everybody, excuse me. A small amount of people got up into arms, but they were very vocal about it. About them pepper spraying the girl. Yes, they pepper sprayed the girl. But she was acting a rabid fool. What other options did they have? You wanted them to beat her with batons? You wanted them to taser her? Did you want them to shoot her? Come on now! The police only had so many options. And they're like, oh, well, they should call a traumatic mental health team or service worker or whatever for that. Please. Please. Sell that story to somebody else. Okay? Clearly, you have no clue how far too many humans operate. Especially ones that have no respect for authority and do not care, and clearly do not care for themselves. Because everybody should know that if the police officers ask you to do something like that, you should probably comply. And I'm confused because I'm black, and I know that if a police officer says something, you should probably, under most circumstances, comply. But somehow this has been lost because all of this anti-police sentiment, guffaw and nonsense. Oh, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do that. Okay, fair enough. Maybe you don't. Maybe whatever. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't. Okay? Because you already know what could very well possibly happen. Okay? Just because you don't have to do something doesn't mean that you should not do it anyway. It's a bit ridiculous when the police are asking an individual to get into the car without any handcuffs, quietly and in a reasonable manner, and then they act a rabid fool, cursing like they're in the freaking Navy, okay, and have not been allowed shore leave in 8 months, and acting like they have, well, I mean, dare I say it, no home training. I guess honestly she didn't have any home training, or the home training that she was given was insufficient. But again, let's go back to the mother. The mother called the police on the daughter, or rather to deal with the daughter, brought the police into the situation to deal with the daughter, whatever the case is. The fact of the matter is that she was unable to handle her own child, which she raised. So you're going to leave it to my taxpayer funds to take care of your child, whom you couldn't take care of, whom you're still supposed to be caring for? That's not acceptable. You have to have responsibility as a parent and as an individual. And then these people got mad at the police for pepper spraying her, for acting like a rabid-ass fool, not listening, not complying, not getting into the car, okay, in the middle of the freezing cold, okay? And you know what the crazy thing is of everything? People got mad as if they would let their children act that way in public. Come off it, okay? You're not going to let your child act that way in public. You'd be like, no, I won't let my child act that way in public. So why was it okay with this girl? She gets a pass? Oh, she had a hard, traumatic life because her mom was a bad person? Fuck out of here, man. Most people have had hard, traumatic lives in one way or another, bro. Come on, man. Like, I don't even want to talk about my life because this isn't even about me. But fuck out of here, okay? Many people have suffered way worse than she has. Way worse. Way worse. Okay? Then the mother had the nerve to sue the police. The mother, which could not control the daughter, that forced the police to get involved with the situation, sued the police for pepper spraying her unruly daughter, whom she is responsible for, whom she is responsible for training. Please, if that was me and I was in charge of the police force or I was the police's lawyer, I'd have sued the shit out the mother. Okay? I would have sued the shit out of her. Are you serious right now? Seriously. Excuse me, I'm trying to keep this PG-13. Okay? But the fact of the matter is you're going to sue them because you neglected your responsibilities as somebody who's supposed to be rearing this child? Okay? Seriously? Responsibility. Your responsibility, her responsibility, because the daughter even knew that she wasn't supposed to act like that. Okay? All people know that you're not supposed to act like that. Okay, that's not true. Most of the people in America know that you are not supposed to behave that way in public, whether they do or not. Period. That's what I'm going to say. Okay? Because there's got to be at least one person out there that just does not know. Maybe they grew up under a rock. I don't know. So, that's that. Personal responsibility, familial responsibility. Let's talk about the guy with the knife. The guy with the knife. Police arrive on the scene. Okay, brief background on that. Guy with a knife goes to the open door mission, which is a mission for homeless people, whatever. Takes a really big knife from there, and some other stuff happened. Then he's outside. The police arrive. Boom, that's where we are. Scene set. So the police go, hey guy, what's going on? Oh, I gotta kill you. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you for Jesus. I'm gonna kill you for Jesus. Okay. He's like, please don't kill me for Jesus. The cop is like, you don't kill me for Jesus. And then Then the guy says, I'm dangerous. The guy says he's dangerous. Okay. So you're dangerous and you're going to kill the police. Okay, gotcha. Then he says, the police is trying to talk him down. He's like, okay, well, what's going on? Calm down. He didn't say calm down. He said, but what's going on? What's the situation? You don't have to do this. Stay back, because he's approaching the officers with this huge knife. Okay? And he's like, oh, y'all gonna have to shoot me. Y'all gonna have to shoot me. Y'all gonna have to shoot me. So I want to kill the cop. I'm gonna kill you. I'm dangerous. And you're gonna have to shoot me. Huh? 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 Okay. So, boom. So now the police start to back away from him. They back all the way back around the corner. So the guy keeps coming. The officers keep trying to talk him down. They're like, you don't have to do this. You don't have to, this doesn't have to go down this way. Please stop advancing. Put down a knife. All of these things like that. Boom. Does he comply? No, he doesn't comply at all. Okay. Then they're like, get back. He refuses to stay back. He continues to approach the officers. Then he runs up on the officers. Now all of this happens rather extremely quickly. So when he runs up on the officers, they have to put him down. Okay. It's unfortunate, and as soon as the guy shoots the guy, he's like, oh man, this didn't have to happen like this. Something like that, he said. It's you could hear in his voice that was not what he wanted to do. He had no intention of having to do that when he got on shift tonight. He had no intention of doing that when he was there. He did not want that situation to go down that way. Now the gentleman, or I shouldn't say the gentleman, the dude that got killed had on a coat, so tasers probably wouldn't have worked. Okay, not probably. Most likely would not have worked. Okay. Pepper spray, we already know that has a high failure rate. Plus it was windy. And it's just, he's got a very large knife. Come on now. Plus, some people are actually resistant to pepper spray. That's a whole nother conversation. But anyway. So, the other only option would have been batons, right? And that just wasn't reasonable. Okay? Now, for whatever reason, the police don't have beanbag guns in their loadout. I'm not sure exactly why, or the cost feasibility about that, or whatever the situation is. But there are those type of things and some other alternatives that the police actually don't have, but that could be used in a situation similar to that of that one. However, that's an extremely high-risk situation. I would not have counted on any of those other things. But, yeah, they just didn't have it at their disposal at the time. And then people wanted to be up in arms about that. But excuse me, if a man with a knife, after you tell them stop coming toward you, stop coming up at you, and to put down the knife, runs up on you after he said that he's dangerous and he's going to kill you, you'd shoot him too. Unless you're just a complete pacifist and you want to die, or you want to die. Either one of those two. Okay? Like, that's the only way that that's going to happen. Okay? Then they want to say that the man was mentally ill. And he was clearly cognizant of his behavior. He knew what he was doing. He had already decided that he wanted to die suicide by cop. Okay? Mentally cognitive, aware, okay? He knew exactly what he was doing, whether he had mental illness or not. Okay? Do not use mental illness as an excuse. It is not. And if mental illness is an excuse, that makes it even worse. Because you're dealing with an irrational individual. So who knows what could happen in that case? In which case, again, what happened would have happened. It's unfortunate whenever somebody dies, of course. But stuff like that happens. Okay? When people do not perform the way that they are supposed to in society and go outside threatening the police with large knives, saying that they're dangerous and they're going to kill the police intentionally, and insisting that the police are going to have to shoot them to stop them. That's just it's too much that we do not hold people accountable for their own actions, and everybody nowadays wants to blame the police. And again, this is not about the police. This is about personal accountability and personal responsibility, okay, on a public scale, outside, in public. We're not talking about at home. We're not talking about in your house. We're not talking about in your basement. We're talking about outside in the world, okay? It's just bad. So we go on to the other one where the lady got the police called on her from Rite Aid in an extremely bad neighborhood, okay? The neighborhood is bad, okay? Bad. Like, when I say bad, like bad, not good, okay? Like, that's the neighborhood, okay, that the Rite Aid is in. So the Rite Aid there has a large amount of loss due to theft. Now, I don't know what the background of the lady is. I don't know if she comes in every Thursday and steals or whatever the situation is, okay? I don't know if she's a known thief. I don't know what the situation is. I don't know if Rite Aid had a string of thefts or whatever the case may be in a short time frame relating to that. I don't know. This is just information I don't have. However, the information I can give you that I do have is that allegedly when the police came and picked her up, she wasn't found to have any items on there. But she did act a rabid-ass fool with the police, which caused her to be pepper sprayed in front of her child, whom apparently she used as a shield. I'm not even sure how that went down. But regardless of that, okay, the child did not get pepper sprayed. But it's just a lot there, and I don't know the full details yet. But the fact is that she acted up. Way up. Were the police right to go and search her or whatever? Well, I mean, the police were doing their job, right? That's what they got called for. That's what they should do, okay? Whether or not it was handled in the most appropriate manner at the time, I'm not able to be the judge of that. However, she got combative and started acting out, and she got pepper sprayed because it got that serious. Stop letting it get that serious. Because it's not like they're just whipping out the pepper spray, pepper spraying everybody for no reason. Like, there are situations that lead up to these things. Like, belligerence and physicality definitely can lead to pepper spray. Continually disregarding commands definitely can lead to pepper spray. Like, now they're saying, oh, the child is traumatized. Well, living in that neighborhood, I'm sure they're already traumatized. Tuh. Seriously? And that's not to say that good people don't live in the neighborhood. But judging on her, the way that she acted and performed, and that's what I'm going to call it, performing in public, sorry. I know people are going to be real mad at this video, but it's the truth. Just stop performing like a rabid fool, and you won't get treated like a rabid fool. And then if you do get treated as a rabid fool, you have a very reliable reason why you should go and get what you deserve legally. That's it. Okay? That's it. That's it. Don't give them an extra reason. Don't give them an extra reason. And don't drive like a fool outside. Don't do that either. Okay? Anyway. It's a problem. It's a serious problem. And remember, that type of behavior is what she's showing her child is okay. It's not okay. That's what you show your 3-year-old, that it's okay to behave that way in public? That's what you show them? No, it's not okay. And I'm sure that she acted a rabid fool in Rite Aid when they accused her of stealing something. Well, I mean, I don't know, maybe she didn't. Maybe she waited and saved that all for the police, but let's be honest. Probably not likely if they said something out of their mouth to her. It's probably not likely. So, I mean, let's be honest. The police can do a better job at policing. There's a lot of things that they can do differently. There is. And that's something that everybody knows. Okay? However, also, the police are here because we need them. And that's an unfortunate reality. Everybody is not great people. I mean, violent crime in Rochester, where we're talking about, is up year over year, like 45%, 40. It might even be 47%. Please don't quote me on that number. It's somewhere between 45 and 47%, something like that. But it's bad. It's rough here. Like, I'm not trying to say, oh, Rochester isn't great, but no, seriously, it definitely can be better. And we need to improve as a community as a whole. Like, this just is not okay. And nobody will stand up and be like, no, we need the police because there is criminality and there is far too much violent crime in the city. But they want to defund the police and abolish the police. The police are resigning in droves, or not resigning, but they're retiring in droves, and lots of them are taking leave, and it's just nobody wants to be a police officer anymore. So the less police officers there are, the more criminals feel like they're emboldened, so there will be more crime. Something has to be done. But where does it start? I'd say it definitely starts with us making sure that we have personal responsibility, okay, for our actions in public. I mean, that's stuff that you should be taught as a child. I understand that everybody might not have been taught that, but you should know better. But what they tell a person, you should know better, that's what they say, right? You should know better. You just don't act that way in public. Then the fact that families keep calling the police on their kin because they're not able to control their kin. If you're not able to control your kin, you have no reason to expect the police to be able to control them. And you shouldn't expect the police to be able to control them. So if you've got a problem with anything that arises from that, you shouldn't have called the police in the first place. It's a fact. You're not able to control them. You have no reasonable thought in your head should be that the police should be able to control them. That's just the way that it is. That's just realistic. If you know the person best and you're their family and you're not able to control them, the likelihood that the police will be able to control them in the climate that we're in is extremely slim because nobody is responding to the police authority the way that they generally should. It's just emboldening criminals, making them feel like they can do whatever and get away with it. Oh, and yeah, bail reform. Don't get me started on that, but we just need to push more for personal accountability in the community so that we can all be better constituents and citizens. Because these are the neighborhoods that our children grow up in. These are the neighborhoods that we live in. We should want our neighbors to be responsible for their behavior in public. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I just expect too much from society, or maybe I believe in the individual too much, or maybe I believe that people have free will, at least of their actions for the most part. I mean, I don't know. At this point, I don't know. Maybe I'm a little idealistic. Maybe I believe that when you come out of your house, you should behave appropriately in public, and behaving appropriately isn't acting like a rabid-ass fool. But I guess I want more out of people, and not enough people are standing up saying that no, people should not be acting this way in public. And I do truly and honestly believe that that is the first thing that needs to be taken care of. People need to stand up more and say, no, this behavior is not okay in public. No, what's going on is not okay. Thank you guys. Be blessed and be well, and make sure that you're pushing for personal accountability and familial accountability, and letting people know when they're behaving like rabid fools in the middle of public, and that it's not okay. It's just not. Be blessed and be well, and God bless America.